make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and hit that notification bell to get all my uploads every day.
What's up, my homies that know me, the chicks that dig me, and everybody who thinks I'm cool? I am the real Tourette Gamer, bringing out the truth as always, guys. And in today's video, I am going to give you some tips and tricks on how to get better, how to become the best Call of Duty player that you can be. Let me first say out, the gameplay you're watching is a gameplay where I actually died, because some of you actually wanted to see me die. I don't want to be one of those YouTubers out there that just shows gameplays of me slaying and not showing my bad gameplays. We all have bad gameplays. I don't care how famous of a YouTuber you are, we all have bad gameplays. And one of my subs, Dakota the Real, if I pronounce the last name wrong, I apologize. He wanted to hear me admit that I get beat. Yes, I get beat. We all get beat. We all have bad games, guys. So in this one, you're going to see me die, but you're obviously going to see me get more kills. But you are going to see me die a little bit. And another thing, I'm pushing my Twitter, guys. If you have Twitter out there, please go give me a follow. I will also follow you back. There you can see, you can see all my up-to-date alerts. You can see everything on there. You can ask me questions. You can talk to me. So go follow me on Twitter @ReallyNoob. I will put the Twitter handle in the description below. I'll probably put it on screen right now. So there you guys go. That's noob with 3 O's. So let's get right into the video. How can you be better? Well, Call of Duty, along with many other video games out there, especially first-person shooters, it's all in your head. It's a mind factor. And what I mean by that is everyone can do anything they want. If it's not impossible, it's possible. If you watch all these popular YouTubers out there, all these pub stompers, the Doom Clan, the Mark of J, all those guys out there, you can do that. You can do that if you push yourself and if you give yourself the effort. It is not impossible to do that. So with that said, let's get right into the first tip, and that is the class setup. Of course, World War II, they don't really have class setups. It's all divisions. So we'll call it division setups, I guess. The first tip I want to give you is know your attachments. What I mean by that is when you pick your weapon, when you pick your gun, make sure you put attachments on it that's going to help the gun. I've seen a lot of people put grip on a gun that does not need grip. I've seen a lot of people that put extended mags on a gun that don't need extended mags. Or if they put extended mags in hardcore. Truth be told, I don't care what anyone says, you really don't need extended mags in hardcore. Hardcore could be a one-shot kill. Now, if you're the type of player that goes out and sprays, then yeah, maybe you can put extended mags on. But if you have good gun skill and you see an enemy, you only need to put 1, 2, maybe 3 on the long side bullets into them. So if you're only using 3 bullets for a kill, you don't need extended mags. So know your attachments. Don't put advanced rifling on a gun that already has really good range. And you can go with this with all the attachments. I mean, FMJ. If you don't shoot down score streaks and you don't shoot through walls, you don't use FMJ. Just because you saw a popular YouTuber use FMJ, and just because they said, "Oh, FMJ will make your gun overpowered." Well, you know what? If you don't do those things, your gun's not going to be overpowered. So know your attachments. And there's a little tidbit to this. Don't use quick draw. Why do I say that? Because quick draw is broken in this game, and I don't know if you can say it's broken. It's used differently than prior Call of Duties. If you're the type of player that runs and guns, and you're overconfident, and you rely on ADSing out of sprint, quick draw is meaningless. It's worthless to you because quick draw is not going to work when coming out of sprint. And today's date is November 12th. I don't know if they're going to change it. If they do, great. If they don't, well, then you're going to have to make do. So if you run and gun and you are relying on the fact that you can get your gun quicker using quick draw out of sprint, it's not going to work. So if you're the type of player that does that, don't use quick draw. If you want to use quick draw, then I will explain to you in the playstyle section of this video, which is coming up. But the next tip I want to talk about class setups is pick a weapon that suits your playstyle. And I know I just said we're going to talk about playstyle a little bit, but when I mean pick your weapon that suits your playstyle, I mean if you're the type of player that sits in the back of the map and camps, don't use an SMG, because if you're in long range of sights, an SMG will not overpower a gun like an LMG or an assault rifle. And usually when I see people camp in the back of the map, they're usually only using assault rifles, LMGs, or a sniper. Don't pick an SMG if you're gonna camp in the back of the map. Also, if you're not gonna, if you're running and gunning, don't pick an LMG. Yeah, there's YouTubers out there that rush with an LMG and do good, but I guarantee you they don't do good every single game. You know, if you think that you want a quick scope and you go around with a sniper, that's probably a bad idea, because quick scoping literally just got nerfed, and in this type of game, everyone kind of sits back. So when you're quick scoping, you're kind of putting yourself out in the middle of the map. But if you're in the right outskirts of the map and you're trying to quick scope and you miss, you're done. You're done. The time to kill is that fast in this game. So pick a weapon that suits your playstyle. My next tidbit, my next section of the class setup, don't pick a gun because you watched a famous YouTuber do it. I mean, yeah, we all like watching these famous YouTubers go out, pick a gun, and slay with it. Well, guess what? They did good that game, congratulations, but they didn't show you what happened the next game if they went negative. Maybe not negative, but if they didn't have such a good game. Don't pick a gun because you watched a famous streamer use it, because I've said in prior videos they might be using stuff, they might have bought in stuff that you don't have, that you can't buy, and that stuff can give them an advantage. And I'll talk about more of that stuff later in the video. And also, if you pick a gun and you do good with it in the first game and you find yourself struggling in the second and third game, that's probably not the best gun for you. Just because you do good in one game with a gun doesn't mean that you're going to do good every single time with the gun. You know, play style, gun skill, the enemy skill, that all has to tie in with that. So if you pick a, let's say if you pick the bar and you go like 30 and 8, and the next game you go 15 and 15, and the next game you go 16 and 11, and the next game you go 10 and 17. If you're inconsistent, I don't suggest using it. Or maybe you have the wrong attachments on it. With the bar, I will say, I will just put this in this video. With the bar, I usually use quick draw, because when I'm using an assault rifle, I don't sprint around the map. And that's probably a good idea. So I use quick draw to advantage. I stop and then I use it. And quick draw will work in that. A bar, I mean, anything like quick draw, if you don't sprint around the map like crazy. Grip is a pretty decent one to use. To be honest, I use a sight, a repticle, a reflex sight, because I really don't like the iron sights on the bar. So, I mean, just to give you a little heads up. And also, another tip for class setup is pick your class setup by map. Don't run the same class setup every single map. And in this game, in World War II, there's maps that are small and there's maps that are huge. You don't want to rock an SMG in a huge map like Gustav Cannon. You don't want to rock an SMG in that map, because you're only committing yourself to close quarter combat, and there's not really too many close quarter combat spots on that map. And if you have good aim and accuracy and you can map people, then I mean, I guess you can use that, but I wouldn't suggest it. And also score streaks. We're gonna wrap up the class setup section with score streaks. Now, score streaks are, I mean, they're a little underpowered in this game. Just like they were in Infinite Warfare. We don't have too many score streaks that are going to annihilate your enemies, like, you know, Black Ops 2. In Black Ops 2, we had tons of score streaks. We had score streaks that would get you from, like, I don't know, like 7, 8, 9 kills to like 30, 35, 40. I mean, the swarm and dogs alone will get you 20 plus kills. So the score streaks aren't that powerful in this game, so use that in your mind, you know. And also, when you pick your score streaks, don't pick score streaks that you know you're not gonna get every single game. Like, if you pick, you know, paratroopers, and you don't get paratroopers every single game, like if you only get it once out of every 5, 6 games, don't pick paratroopers. Yeah, it's cool to get, and when you get it, you get a lot of kills, but you're basically wasting one of your score streak slots with something you can use otherwise. Like, if you don't use paratroopers and you put in care package is pretty easy to get every single game, and guess what? You might get paratroopers out of that, or you might get a better streak. The score streaks I usually run are the UAV, which is probably the must-use score streak in this game. I also use the, what's it called? The, excuse me, but the, what is it called? The gun where when you're in the plane and you fly across the map and you shoot people. I totally forgot what it's called. Excuse me for that. I use that one, and I use paratroopers, and I do usually get paratroopers. We'll say every other game. I'll bite my lip and say every other game. The next section I want to talk about is playstyle. Now, I know I said before, pick your weapon that suits your playstyle. Now we're going to talk about playstyle. Call of Duty World War II is the kind of game where more people play laid back, more people camp. I've seen more campers in this game than any other Call of Duty. Why? Because it's just slower game. Running and gunning for once is not the best playstyle to use. Now, in Black Ops 3, I was running and gunning with the Razorback all day long. In Infinite Warfare, I was running and gunning with the Mac Tab all day long. You really can't run and gun in this game because a lot of people stay back in the map, and when you try and push it, you will get killed because they're already aiming on you. So, what is the best playstyle I found in this map, in this game? And that is to hold down an area of the map. Now, I'm not saying, you know, going in the back of the map and camping. I'm talking about going to a choke point in the game, or an area of the map with, you know, a lot of action, and, you know, kind of patrolling the map and keeping that area of the map under wraps. Holding down that area of the map. I mean, it's probably the best playstyle that's in the game right now. I mean, you can run and gun all you want, you can camp all you want, but I find holding down an area of the map is key. Going to the middle of the map and holding it down, if you're confident in your gun skill and your aim, you should do well, because most players will go into the middle of the map. You will get a lot of kills, but if you're not confident in your gun skill, you might get a lot of deaths. The next thing is train yourself to new things. Like I said, anyone can do anything. If it's not impossible, it's possible. So train yourself to do new things. You know, if you're on YouTube and you're on Twitch watching these pub stompers, you know, run and gun and get, you know, 60, 70 kill gameplays, and you know you can't do that, well, guess what? I have news for you. You could do that if you put the time and effort into it. How you do that, it's all in your head. Watching them play, it's 50-50, because, like I said, they might be using things that you don't have, but train yourself to do new things. Watch them. Change up how you play. You're probably going to do bad in the beginning, but, you know, if you're a bad player in this game, the only way you can go up is up. You're only going to get better. And another thing I want to talk about, playstyle, is something that I've seen more and more people do by every day this game is out, and that's pre-aim around every corner. And I am going to drop some truth on you guys. You know, some of these YouTubers out there are telling you only pre-aim when you know there's going to be enemies. Well, guess what? In this game, you don't know where they're going to be. And unless you're on 30 milligrams of Adderall, and unless you have a UAV up that's up all the time, you're not going to know where they are. So pre-aim around every corner, because I've gotten killed out of spawn so many times that if I would have pre-aimed around that corner, I would have killed him. I mean, there's hundreds of times already that's happened, and you know, something like that can turn your game around. Like, you know, that could be a KD killer, as we call it. So pre-aim around every corner. And the last thing I want to talk about Playstyle is know the lobby. You know, if you're the type of player that stays in the lobby, you know, for 5, 6, 7 games, get to know the lobby. Get to know the people that you play with, because they might be on the enemy team next game, and get to know the enemies. You know, if you find a guy who's camping in the back of the map, chances are he's a camper. Chances are he will camp the rest of the way. If you're playing people that rush, chances are they'll rush the next game. I've talked about it in previous videos, don't have the same playstyle in every single game. Well, a lot of people, they don't do that. They will have the same playstyle. So if you're playing a bunch of rushers, lay back. If you're playing a bunch of campers that you know they're going to camp, pull out a sniper, find cover, and snipe them. Know your lobby, guys. That is a big thing. Know what score streaks they're using. Know what guns they're using, and you can counteract that. Know what attachments they're using, so you can counteract that. You know, if they're using FMJ, try not to, you know, go in houses or be behind stuff that you can get shot by. If they're using rapid fire, put an SMG with rapid fire on it. That stuff will help you out. So know your lobby. The next thing I want to talk about, earlier I told you that, you know, all these YouTubers might be using stuff and buying stuff that you can't have or you can't buy. The next tip I'm going to give you is thinking about upgrading your setup. Now, what I mean by that is, think about it. Do you play on a TV or do you play on a monitor? TVs have high response time. That is big, and I mean big. And what response time is, basically think about this. When you get in a gunfight and you basically shoot him 5 times and he shoots you it looks like 2 times, but on the kill cam he, you know, lights you up 5 or 6 bullets. A monitor will help that. You know, if you walk into the middle of the map, you see a guy, he starts shooting you, and you go behind a wall, but you still die, a monitor will help that. That's all response time. If someone's using a monitor, on their end, they're gonna win the gunfight before on your end you even die. That's pretty much what response time is. So I suggest getting a gaming monitor. I actually rock an Asus Swift PG248Q gaming monitor. It's a full HD 1080. It's overclocked for 180 Hertz rapid refresh rate, 1 millisecond response time, and it's a really great monitor. It's on the pricey side. When I bought it, it was around $500. I'm not sure how much they are now, but that's a good monitor. I like that. Another thing you can buy is a SCUF controller. Now there's a bunch of SCUF controllers out there. There's even other models, not models, but you know, there's a bunch of models, but there's other companies out there, like I believe Battle Beaver or something like that. There's Kinch Gaming, but I actually rock an Xbox One Elite controller, and it's just as good as a SCUF controller. I mean, with a SCUF controller, the things that you got to worry about are the trigger stops and the paddles that are on the bottom of the controller, and you get that with the Elite controller. So if you have an Elite controller and you're still struggling, maybe it's because of your settings, maybe it's because of your button mapping. Maybe I'll do a video sometime in the future on what settings that might be able to help you. Of course, I'm not going to tell you which ones to run because it might not help for you. I'm not that kind of a YouTuber. The next thing I want to talk about, as I talked about it in my how to aim video, is control freaks. I'm not going to go in depth with it too much, but control freaks basically are extensions to your thumbsticks that give you more of a rotation, I guess you can say. It's very weird to explain, but they help your aiming. Takes a few games to get used to, but once you start using them, you're not going to be able to not use them again. Next thing I want to talk about is headset. Get a good headset. You don't even need a good headset. You can use a decent headset. Sound horn is big in this game. If they don't run, the dead silence basic training perk, I forgot what it's called, or if they don't run Mountain Division, you're going to hear their footsteps. And when you know where the enemies are, you know, it's a KD booster. So get a good headset. I rock the new Astro A10s because I'm poor, I guess you can say. I didn't want to spend $300 on an Astro headset, so I got the Astro A10s. They're $100, and they work perfect. I don't have any problems with it. They work just the way I need them. The last thing I want to talk about is upgrading your setup. I explained it in my aiming video too. Is your internet. Always hardwire your console. And what I mean that is plug in an Ethernet cable. I use a Cat 6 Ethernet cable. I find that the bandwidth increases, the latency drops. My internet, I rock almost a gig over a gig, and my latency is always under 5 milliseconds. If you're familiar with Verizon Fios, they got plans out there where you can upgrade to a gig over gig. The next tip I want to bring to you is aim. I'm not going to get too much into aim. If you want to watch my how to aim correctly video, you can go ahead and watch that. It's on my channel. I probably already put a card in the video, but if you have good aim, then your chances are you're going to be doing pretty good. Confidence. You always have to have confidence. Don't go into any game with a sour face. Don't be a negative Nancy. Don't be a sad Sally. You know, if you had a bad game last game, don't bring that into the next game, because when you get frustrated, you're just going to die more, and you're going to get more frustrated, and then you rage quit, and then you take a loss, and then you get made fun of by people, and you get hate mail. So have confidence. You know, if you did bad last game, just tell yourself that you'll do good this game. Head factor, and what I mean by that is, like I said before, this game is all in your head. It is all a mind issue. If you see it, you can do it. And learning new things and trying to throw that into what you already do mid-game could be tough, but with practice, you can do it. The next thing I want to talk about is settings. Now, settings can play a big role with this. So I'm going to go right into my settings right now, and I'm going to show you what are my settings, and maybe they will help you, maybe not, but check it out. Alright guys, we are in settings. Now, like I said, you guys can try these settings out. It'll maybe make you a better player. Like I said, I use these settings, and I find myself pretty darn decent at this game. So let's go into controls. Now, the button layout is up to you. I use tactical because I can drop shot with my right thumbstick. My bottom right paddle is the A button, so I can jump. And on the bottom left paddle is my knife button. It's the melee button, so I can, well, I don't know if it's knife, but gun butt or whatever. So I play on tactical stick layout. I don't know anyone who uses anything other than default. So, you can probably keep it on default. Looking version, you want to keep this disabled. It's going to mess with you. Basically, it changes the way you look when you're using the left stick. So, I mean, it'll just switch it around. So when you look up, it'll basically make it look like you're looking down. It's weird. Keep it on disabled. The sensitivity is up to you. I don't know if I'm going to make a sensitivity video. Like I said in my aiming video, sensitivity is totally up to you. I have it on a 7. I find myself having really good control on 7. And I will add to this for the aiming video. If you have really good control, move it on up. If you play on a 7, move it on 8, and see if you can have the same control on that. The vertical sensitivity, I have it on the same. I'm not one of those people that have 7, 8 or 8, 9. I keep them both on 7. Gives it more stability. Controller vibration, you want it off. You want to put it on disable. Controller vibration will mess up your aim. It'll basically tell your mind. It'll make your mind think about something else. And it's weird to say that, but like I said, this is a mind technology game. Aim assist rotation enabled. That's your aim assist. You want to keep that enabled, and I'm not sure why this is disabled. You want to keep aim assist slowdown enabled also. I've seen YouTubers have it disabled. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I tried it or something. You want to keep that enabled. Auto weapon switch, these things, they're kind of like in the game, but you just never really notice them. Auto weapon switch, just keep that enabled. Auto mantle, keep that disabled. You don't want to keep it enabled. That's going to make your dude do things that you don't want to do. Hustle, sprint, cancel, put disabled. It's kind of like a counteract to the hustle perk. I mean, I honestly don't understand why these three are in the game. But the two most important ones are the aim assist for rotation and slowdown. You want to keep those enabled. And a close and of course vibration disable, and sensitivity and button layout is totally up to you. Now let's go into graphics. Now graphics, there's two things. There's three things that are important with this. The brightness. Brightness is totally up to you. I keep mine in the middle. If it's too low, I can't see. If it's too high, everything just kind of goes right into my eyes and it blows my mind and I can't see. So I keep it in the middle. My theory is if you can't see on low, if you can't see on high, then put it in the middle. Safe area, I put my safe area like this just because I'll have the whole screen. Colorblind, I put that disabled. I'm not colorblind. Minimap rotation, I enable it because it rotates in the direction of the player and it gives me a better idea on where the enemies are. And motion blur, you want to keep that off. You want to disable it. Motion blur messes up with the game. It's pretty much what it says. It's a motion blur. So keep that off. Next thing we're going to do is audio. Game volume, I have it all the way up just so I can hear everything. Music, I disable music. Why do I disable music? Because mid-game, the music starts to play, especially, when the game's about to end, and all that can mess with your mind. And it all ties into mindful technology, as I like to call it. Announcer, I keep that on just because sometimes they call out. They'll say, in the bunkers or something. So you want to, and then they also let you know if the enemy is either dropping a bomb or an artillery. They even let you know when they will tell you with the UAV up. Battle chatter, same thing. Keep that enabled. Hip feedback volume. I turn it to a little over medium. You can turn it up. You can turn it up all the way if you want. I mean, it just all depends on how loud you want it. It's pretty self-explanatory. Subtitles, I disable. I don't want to see words going across my screen. Council info, I'm not going to that one. You guys don't need to see my council info. But those are pretty much the settings that you need, that you can change. So try those settings out, guys. Let me know in the comment section if it helps. Alright guys, that's going to do it for this video. That's going to wrap it up, baby. That is my tips on how to become a better player. It's kind of long, but there are some great tips in here. I hope you use them to your advantage. Last thing, guys, practice, man. Just practice. Practice makes perfect. Everything you do with practice, you will get better. If you're a bad player, the only way you can go up is up. So practice, guys. If we can get some likes on this video, that would be great. Let's get a like goal of 40. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Hit that notification bell to be alerted on all my uploads and all my streams, guys. My one goal this year is to become an awesome, popular, famous Call of Duty YouTuber. So help me out, baby. Just go on social media, whether it's Twitter, whether it's Facebook. Share my videos. Put a good word out for me. TTG would love it, guys. Anyways, stay cool, fool, don't hate, eat some cake, thick eyes and bright eyes, and as always, guys, keep on grinding.